Welcome, everyone, to the Rewatch, Episode 1. I am your host, Matrixlord212.
What?
There you go. And I am with Scott. What's up, Scott?
Hello, all.
All right, so this is the first episode of our brand new podcast called The Rewatch, where we basically rewatch a show that we've already seen, some time has passed, and we look to see if our opinion has changed based on our original opinion. Now, I had chosen Star Trek Discovery Episode 1 because I remember hating the episode. Now, yesterday, I decided, well, you know what? Let me see what our original review was. And it was so funny because I'm watching myself and I kind of forgot how mad I was. And I was cursing up a storm. I was angry. It was pretty funny, I thought.
Yeah.
The cast. We had a whole bunch of people in there. And so I decided, all right, after I watched the Star Trek Discovery and then I watched my last reaction. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start off and we're going to go into each topic. We're going to really discuss stuff. So we're going to start off with something, let's say the music, okay? Where I kind of felt like that, if you're going to create something new like Discovery,
yeah,
but then you're going to still connect it to, see, this is the thing that bothers me is that, yes, it's set around the time period of original Star Trek show, like 10 years before,
original series,
right? 10 years before original Star Trek, right? But if you want it to stand on its own, but then you are trying to do variations on the theme, and then you're doing that weird, like you're trying to do Outer Limits, Twilight Zone weird shit, and then you want to show us the technology that was antiquated from, but then you want to show us how the ships look completely different with the technology different. I feel failing grade with the music. I did not like it. What did you think of the music?
I'll be quite honest. I liked the music. I love that almost rice paper type opening that they did.
Okay.
And the animation to it. It was just, I have to say, to this day, I still love that rice paper look,
mm-hmm.
and the music. Plus, at the end, how they give you a little nod to the original,
right.
the original theme, just as the Discovery's flying towards you.
Now, that's another thing too. The show is called Star Trek Discovery, and we do not see Star Trek Discovery in the first episode. And we're not going to talk about the other episodes.
I know, but still, basically the first two episodes you don't see Discovery.
We don't see it episode 1, and to me that's false advertisement. Like, Discovery should have been in episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So right off the bat, like when I see something like that, I feel that the writer does not know what they're doing. Completely. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that they've never really, maybe they never really done a series before or whatever, but it is so chaotic, the episode. And then we're going to talk about Klingons. Okay?
Oh, God. They still, hearing their voice, it's like metal on metal to this day.
You're trying to get people to watch your show. I understand that they speak another language. But the main thing you don't do is you don't let them talk in their language. You make it that they're being translated. And you let them talk English. Okay? And I think they tried to do a variation of the Klingon language, not exactly the Klingon language. But not only did they change the Klingons' look, they're trying to say it's about warrior race and honor, but then it's not honorable to have your dead as part of the ship.
Yeah.
So you lost me there. And you made the Klingons...
Unique design, I'll admit. I'm going to have to say that it was a unique design, but...
I didn't like the design. I felt it was like Nosferatu type of design. Vampires in space. The way their artifacts or their culture, the way everything was looking, they They tried to do Nosferatu. They tried to do Life Force. They tried to do vampires in space, and they're not vampires, mind you.
No.
And it's like, you know, my thing is, I understand that you're not allowed to use what the Klingons looked like in the original series, and you're not allowed to use what the Klingons look like in Next Generation. And my whole point is, why not? Why is the rights of Star Trek split or scattered into 3 different companies or 4 different companies? Because if you're going to do a series,
which is stupid.
If you're going to do a series and you're not allowed to do this or you're not allowed to do that,
why make it?
Exactly. If I am like the money for the show, I'm going to be like, no, I'm not doing it. And let it sit, be buried for 10, 20 years. Because if you're not going to let me have my hands uncuffed, and do it, I'm not going to do it at all. So they decided to change the design, which I think did not work. Okay. They tried to change the culture. It didn't work. They tried to change that everybody's like a goddamn backstabber. There's no honor with the Klingons, and I think that didn't work. Because how could you be honorable, but then everybody and their mother wants to challenge your authority every 5 friggin' minutes? So that didn't work. Now let's go to the relationship between Michael Burnham, which here's another thing. This is an SJW thing because you give the main character a man's name for spite, because you're going to try to say, well, she deserves that name. And like, we don't even have that right now where like women are named after like certain men that's actual, like they've never been before. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's just absurd. And, you know, I don't know any Michael that's a female. I mean, unless it was Michelle or something. So that's 1. 2,
well, there is the actress Michael Leonard, but
this actress,
I know what you're saying.
I like the actress that plays Michael Burnham because I like her from Walking Dead. I think she's a great actress. I also like the actress that plays the captain of the what's the name of the ship? The Shinzu.
Shinzu or Shinzo.
Yeah, Shinzo is a ship, and Giorgio, right? Giorgio,
yeah.
Yeah, I like her as a captain. I think she's excellent. But the thing I have a problem with is that if they were working together for 7 years. Now, 7 years is not a walk in the park. 7 years is the length of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yep.
You're saying Riker and Picard for 7 years, they're like family. It's ridiculous. She's ready to promote Michael Burnham. And I'm sorry, but the relationship with them together, it should be like Riker and Picard. And so right off the bat, you establish that before you even establish like what the hell she is really, that they have a friendship, they're close, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
We see the race and we see the planet that they're on, and of course there's a lot that the number 1 can still learn, which is Michael Burnham before she could be a captain yet. Okay. And sort of the captain kind of schools her in a sense. She made the symbol of Starfleet for them to pick up because they couldn't. The aliens, looking at the aliens from that race, it looked kind of like some guy wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
Weird ass, like funnels and shit, trying to be like creatures and stuff. It didn't look like they spent money at all on it. Now, the planet looked real. The aliens did not. So that was garbage. And then we get the ship, which the ship seemed to me like it was more advanced, but it felt dark. It didn't feel like a ship that you're on you're in a mission for 7 years and like, it felt uncomfortable, the ship. It didn't feel like Next Generation. It didn't even feel like the Defiant. It didn't feel like, Enterprise, or Archer's, Enterprise. It didn't feel like it was just someone got the design wrong, and they tried to do flash lights.
Trying to do a hodgepodge.
Right. Then we get the crew, which the writers are not good enough to have a good cast for the crew. So they put shitty characters in there because you know that they're all gonna die, which makes no sense because if these people were working for 7 years together,
didn't give you a chance to really get to know them and really care what happens to them, which is
they should have been
which the way it was throughout that entire first season and show. Half the time it feels as like they write these things like, oh, we're just going to throw this up, and you just don't care about the characters.
Like, it didn't seem to me like they interacted with each other for 7 years, like they knew each other inside and out.
No, they didn't.
It felt cold. It felt attached. And it felt like, they said it was 7 years, but it was only 5 minutes.
It was like a military vessel, basically.
Yes, it was. It did feel too military. And all the crew members were boring. And you had that one robot. I don't know what that was. That was stupid.
That was an augmented human.
The guys, and you know what it is? They're focusing on Saru. They're focusing on Michael Burnham. But the helmsman they knew for friggin' years. The other girl they knew for, like, they didn't give them anything to do. They were like shit characters, and they don't know them personally. Like again, it felt like a military chain of command thing. The fact then it comes up that her parents were killed by Klingons and she was raised as Vulcan. The one thing I did agree with is that when they were showing her taking the test as a Vulcan, she saw the scary images of death and she got scared and she started to cry, which is a human thing. I understand. Yeah. And I know Sarek loved her even though he professed on the show because of emotions, but they didn't really go deep into her, like how she would be exactly like Spock and everything. So later in the season, but it made no sense. Now, all of a sudden, I do feel from watching this episode, there was this distortion in space. She wanted to investigate it. She went out. Before we got into that, her relationship with Saru, it seemed to me like she's the woman and she's putting down the stupid man.
Yeah.
And she's embarrassing him in front of everybody, and she's being.
That's the way that. The whole women are the most intelligent and most intellectual. The men are just there to be the tough guy, and that's
and she knows how to fucking fix up an array faster than he does.
Yeah, and that's what I got.
She's the fucking first officer, right? And she just goes over, she starts touching his console and get the fuck out of here, I got this.
No, a real officer would have gone over and did get your ass away from there. And but
also,
once again, it's an SJW type of setup to where, and I think that's half the reason why they named her Michael, is to give that little supremacy type of thing.
Now, also, you see a Klingon, you know the backstory that they could go to war at any moment. Even though your life is threatened, and she's supposed to be trained for and it's they took the test at Kobashi Maru, they took all this. The first instinct she goes is to kill the Klingon. Now, that definitely had to do with her rage that her parents were killed.
Yeah, she
basically knew she could have started a war with that. But she just, all of a sudden, you mean to tell me she didn't know what she was doing, and she abruptly, accidentally killed the Klingon. That's why I like it when the captain is talking to the admiral, and he just scolds her like, "You did enough. Like, really? You just fucking killed the Klingon? Are you absolutely your fucking mind? Because now we're going to war because you're a fucking idiot." And you know what? He deserved to rip her apart because she's got this superiority complex. Like, she's a Vulcan and she's a human and she's above everybody. So fuck everybody. Okay. You just fucked Starfleet, okay? You basically screwed the Federation. You screwed everybody.
Starfleet doesn't shoot first.
Yeah, where did this come from? And again, she's not a rookie. She's been in Starfleet Academy before she served under her for 7 years, and she's been trained. So what they're trying to teach the fans is fuck authority, fuck chain of command. And this is what happens when you have chaos. If you do not have a chain of command, you have chaos. So what they're basically saying is, if someone's in charge, like say the president, screw that.
Yeah.
Screw that. Just do your own thing and fuck it. Which, that is not. This is Starfleet. Kirk had to obey orders. Sometimes he didn't like. This is Starfleet. Okay? Like, you're not even a captain. You're a piece of shit. You're a first officer. And you were going to get promoted? That's why it was embarrassment how, when she started acting up, Michael Burnham, she's like, the captain's like, shut the fuck up because I'm going to promote you. You're an idiot. Right?
Yeah, there would be no reason to promote her for the way she was acting.
You're embarrassing yourself. First of all, you're fucking rude because when Picard would talk to a fucking admiral, Riker wouldn't come in knowing he's on the phone with them.
No.
Like, that's totally fucked up. And this bitch comes in, like, strolling in, like, I'm fucking Michael Burnham. Who cares? Who the fuck cares who you are? Get the fuck out of my thing. So then she embarrasses the captain on the fucking bridge, which you do not fucking do that.
You don't question
if you think you're right or not.
Yeah. And
then when they went to the quarters and she's telling her, the moment that was the game changer for me with this show was the fact that she, despite being fucking friends and a mentor, she went to hurt her friend and give her the Vulcan neck pinch, right?
Yeah.
And I could not believe what I was watching. I was just in fucking shock when I saw that. Like, the rage that I had, because it's like, you took a dump on Star Trek. You did. Yeah. And my first video, when you were in it, Scott, and I think Ron was in it, and a few other people were in it, I was cursing up a storm. It was warranted. It was warranted. And now we're doing the rewatch, and I'm taking the cool approach, being calm and collected and just explaining every detail there is. I'm talking too much. I want you to, talk.
No, it's pretty much, that's a lot of the problems you were saying I had a problem with, is that, for one thing, the Klingons, the way they talked, it literally was like metal scraping together.
Yeah, I couldn't take it.
It was just like, oh God, will you shut them up? And the way Burnham was pretty much treated the chain of command. And I'm sitting there watching, and we'll get into another little topic which got the show in trouble, but that'll probably be waited until the very end.
Yeah, I don't want to go into any of that.
No, I'm not going to go into that until maybe like the very last episode. But nonetheless, that first episode and the second episode, I was not that thrilled with.
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping ahead a bit, but
I only want to cover this episode. We gotta be.
But this was not an enjoyable episode. They pretty much just made this like, okay, here's Michael. She's the main cast member. She will come up with all the ideas, all the premises, and you got to listen to her and buy what she says because she's the rule. Because she's the lead. No. And and Saru, I'm trying to remember if Saru was...
Saru was the alien that his race was conquered and destroyed, and they became slaves, and they became this, and they always ran, and they had the sense then of death. Like when death was coming and they were in trouble, he would get this sense.
I liked. I have to say,
I liked him. I liked him too.
And he was pretty much the only sensible one amongst them.
They just kept making him like he was fucking stupid, though, which I was getting annoyed.
Yeah. But that was another thing. It's just that's what they always did with this SJW show, is where the women were the intellectual ones. They came up with the ideas, and the men were just there to go, okay, I'm here to be your bodyguard, or I'm here to be the villain. Right. And that really turned me off. Right. And granted, Tilly, the gal who played Tilly, and the other gal that had the little... well,
they're not in here yet, though.
Okay, it was my bad.
Like, we just got to stick with episode 1. I know.
I was thinking they were...
I don't want to confuse the audience, because, again, if they're watching it with us for the first time, they're not going to know what you're talking about. So
I was trying to remember if Tilly and them were in it.
It was the fucking crew that you didn't know who the fuck they were, because they were dead and they suck anyway. But, all right, let me just continue. The technology where anywhere in the universe that Sarek was, that she could immediately talk to him, was outrageous. It was not believable. It was ridiculous. Also, the fact that
it was pretty much a hologram community.
But also the fact that the Vulcans, who are so smart, could not figure out how to lower the shields of the Klingons. They could not figure out everything. And the first thing that they can think of when they're getting the ass kicked is to blow them up.
Yeah.
First of all, that is not even logical.
That's not a logical. It's not a logical way of dealing with things.
Because what would happen is they would be so obsessed with logic, right, to try to stop the Klingons without shooting, that they would probably have ships that would be killed.
Yeah.
So that whole story about how they now it's the Vulcan hello, meaning I'm shooting you in the fucking mouth. That is not what the Vulcans do, and that is just outrageous.
They try to look at it as a diplomatic.
There's no way that
logical sense of diplomacy, thinking that if we can at least find a common thread, we can sign a peace treaty. But they wrote the Vulcans as though they were the aggressors as well.
Exactly, and that's the whole point, is that you shoot first and ask questions later. What the fuck? You just shit on all the Vulcans in history and the whole culture. So I had a problem with that also. Now, also, whenever there was a situation when the Enterprise, Next Generation, the Enterprise was in trouble, right, with Picard and all that, they would say, okay, in history, this ship did this. Mm-hmm. They would have a room where they would all come up with a solution to how, they could destroy the enemy. And everybody would bring something to the table. Riker could say, well, in Starfleet Academy, I remember I came up with this maneuver, and I was good at this. And then Deanna Troi would say, okay, I think that we had this thing with the deflector shields, and we had a thing where we could repel energy and stuff. So they would, and then this one would come up with a cloaking device, and this one would come up with so everybody was brainstorming with different ideas. It wasn't that there's only one damn choice.
Oh God, yeah.
And they would jump at the choice because So that's another thing. Okay, so we get that situation where she tells the captain of the Vulcan hello, and the captain was like, "We're not doing that," and then she Vulcan neck pinches her. Now, the fact that she comes out of there and she has this grand plan that people are going to listen to is absurd. Also, she wanted them to shoot on that one Klingon ship, right?
Yeah. She was channeling her anger from when they destroyed her, killed her family.
Had she been able to do this, which we saw afterwards, okay, because the captain came out, was going to shoot her first officer, like, how dare you embarrass me on my ship, right? They would have been dead because there was like 20 ships that just came out of nowhere. And this is a sign of inexperience from the first officer that she would have got everyone killed because
once again, Michael was the lead character that they were pushing.
Right.
So they wanted everybody to ignore that.
So when that happened, it was like, oh shit. And all these ships came out of nowhere. And if she would have did that, they would have been fucked. Now, what they did was, and we all complained about it, they ended the fucking episode. They put this episode on regular TV. And for a pilot episode, they did a fucking cliffhanger, which is something that you never fucking do. You establish a thing, and if it leads into the next episode, okay, but you never do a fucking thing that's a cliffhanger, like a massive fucking thing.
They wanted this was the hook. This was the bait for people to join their CBS All Access.
Right, and the whole goal was to pay. Right, we're explaining to people now that so the whole goal was to put the show on CBS All Access, a new streaming service that was created, and they wanted to make money off of Star Trek from individual people paying. Rather than you watching cable with tons of channels, their program felt was so special that they needed to get money just for Star Trek.
And I still think today what shot them in the foot, I know I'm ahead again, I still think what shot them in the foot is when season 2 came out, this should have went to network TV. Whether it was as a syndicated show somewhere or on their main thing. That first season should have went straight to network TV when the second season came out.
Now, if this was on TV and this was no streaming service, then we would have an accurate way to track the ratings and to see if people would take to it or not. If this was on regular TV, I would say that it would get canceled. Because I think that people would
by the 6th or 7th episode, it would have.
Now, in this situation, you have a streaming service that got people to pay for their own show.
Mm-hmm.
So they got Netflix UK to pay for Discovery for 2 seasons. So the second season,
and it was commissioned already before the
first episode aired. It was renewed, which was a sign of ego, where they could not. They did not want to have an embarrassment.
So they could not even prove whether the show was good or not. They would have had to wait for the
because if you cancel it by the end of the second season, you couldn't prove that it was a failure in the first season, because why would we have another season? So it was agreed upon with Netflix. They said, look, we did 2 seasons. You got to pay for your own shit. 3rd season, right? So supposedly Discovery was renewed, right, for a 3rd season, where they're paying for it. But I'm going to tell you right now, they said it was renewed. They said they were paying for it. But I have yet to hear one damn fucking thing about them filming any fucking thing. So I don't think they are paying for it. I think they're lying, and I think that they're waiting to see how Picard does.
Yep.
And then say that Discovery was canceled, because if Picard is successful, then they could just cancel Discovery, and you could just say,
look, the whole thing where they went through that little wormhole to the future, and boom, there's.
Well, again, I don't want to jump.
I know.
We're revealing seasons ahead, and I don't want to do that. But all right. So anyway, back with this episode, they end it on a cliffhanger, and then you got screwed. And
if you didn't have All Access,
we had to get the episode, and it was not fucking fair, because it cost you money, and it was bullshit. And for the people that wanted to finish the episode, they got suckered. They should
have had the first 2 episodes. What they should have done is made this make it a 2-part episode, but made it as a 2-hour movie in order to introduce the show.
Right. So overall conclusion is, again, I like the actresses, but everything was wrong with episode 1. I did not have anything in here that I liked. Okay? I did not like anything in this. And for me to say there was not one damn thing I liked about it, it just, you're pushing agendas. You're pushing Republicans and Democrats, where Starfleet is this and Klingons are this. You're putting too many things into it, and you lost the whole concept of the show. But to be fair, we're going to do another episode of the Rewatch, and we're going to talk to you about rewatching episode 2. But again, I'm not even going to rate it.
No.
Because I don't even think it's worth rating. Now, again, first time I talked about it, I was cursing up a storm. I'm calm. I'm collected now. I've seen it again. You couldn't pay me to watch it again. And the only reason why I almost canceled this podcast, because I'm like, how the fuck am I going to do a podcast watching some shit that I hate?
I will say this much. I would rather, no matter how bad Discovery was, I would rather watch this and recommend this over Series 11 of Doctor Who.
I would not. I would.
I mean, that's the one thing I would do. Even though I had problems with Discovery, I would say between Discovery and Doctor Who Series 11. Go watch Discovery.
I would not, because my if you're going to compare this to Doctor Who, Discovery lost its way completely. And Doctor Who did not lose its way completely because we have a new incarnation of the Doctor that it's the first season. Like, just like Christoph Eccleston was the first season, or David Tennant's first season, or Matt Smith's first season. And you got to give her a chance to, like, be comfortable in the role like Capaldi was. Where after Capaldi was comfortable, it was freaking fantastic. Years later, you know what I'm saying? But no, at least we had some stuff going on that she's the Doctor or something. It wasn't a complete disaster with Doctor Who. Yes, but we were able to identify. There was some episodes we liked, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me,
I know.
No way. Like, I would say that Discovery is worse than Doctor Who. That's my opinion. Your opinion is you think Discovery was better. And we will find out on the rewatch when we cover Star Trek Discovery Season 1, Episode 2. And again, I don't even know if we're going to even rate it. I mean, do you want to rate the episode or no? I'm not rating it.
It's unrateable.
That's bad, too. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye for now.